Hi, I'm Dr. Gilles. I am a chiropractor and currently Vice President of Professional Relations at Life University in Marietta, Georgia. I want to share a healing story with you. In the spring of 2000, while running, I started having problems breathing. I thought I was allergic to something in nature, and so I did what every probably normal male adult would do. Not very smart, but I stopped running. If I didn't run, I didn't have any problems breathing, and I thought nothing of it. 3 years later, in the spring of 2003, one of my team members at the office pulled me inside, and she had tears in her eyes. She said, I'm so afraid you're going to die in front of me. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, oh, listen to yourself breathing. She says, you sound terrible. She said, as a matter of fact, you look terrible. You look ill. You're just not well. And I said, no, I'm allergic to something. I'm trying to figure out what that is, because I am allergic to animal hair. And the sensation I was getting in my chest those days was similar to the feeling that I get if I'm around animals. But anyway, she was a little bit brighter than I was, and she called a buddy of mine who's a physician, and that night he called me and he said, hey, Gilles, he said, if I made a promise to someone and you were the only person in the world that could help me fulfill my promise, would you do whatever it takes to help me? And I said, well, of course I would. He said, great, I'll see you tomorrow in my office at 4 o'clock. It was on a Monday evening. He knew I didn't see patients Tuesday afternoon, so off I went to his office on Tuesday afternoon. And to make a very long story short, I got diagnosed with a terminal condition called primary pulmonary hypertension. Giving it to you, easy to understand, it is back pressure from the lungs pushing into the right side of the heart and making it very difficult for the heart to pump blood back into the lungs to have it oxygenated properly. And the back pressure was measured at 57 instead of the normal being 15. So the back pressure was 4 times greater than expected. And because the body has this amazing capacity to adapt, what had occurred over time is that my heart grew to 2.5 times its normal size, a condition called cardiomegaly. After multiple tests at the local hospital, then the regional hospital, and then multiple cardiologists and respirologists, I was told that the only way that my life could be saved was if I agreed to a double lung and heart transplant. Yes, that's what was suggested. Have your chest opened and let's put in a bored heart and bored lungs from someone else and see if we can help you survive. And I thought, no, I don't think I would want to do that. And I did research on double lung and heart transplant recipients, the fact that they're on anti-rejection drugs probably the rest of their life. Also discovered that the life expectancy post-transplant was probably about 5 years, but that the quality of life would probably be relatively low. I've always been extremely active. As I said, I was a runner most of my life. I've always been active. I used to race snowmobiles, water ski, downhill ski, do all sorts of crazy sports, jump out of planes, and just plain have fun. And when I analyzed all the information that I was learning about as it relates to primary pulmonary hypertension and a double lung and heart transplant, I made the conscious decision to not go through with the surgery and instead decided that I would retire from practice. I was getting worse by the week. I succumbed to the half-hourly use of Ventolin, which means I was pumping Ventolin into my lungs about every 30 minutes while I was in practice so I could see the next group of patients that were scheduled to see me. And as soon as I found someone who could take over my practice, I basically retired. And so on the 14th of April in 2004, I went home to prepare myself to transition. Yes, I knew I was going to die. I was getting worse by the week. And so I did what, people, when you know you're going to die, I did what those people know, or what those people do, rather. And so I started planning my funeral. What would it look like? What songs would they sing? Put all my finances together, put money aside that could be used to basically have a party. I'd had a beautiful life, and I was grateful for the life that I had. And I thought, if this is God's plan, I'm okay. I will accept that the next phase of me is a transitional one, and that I will be removed from this earth in the body that we call human form. And I rested a lot, obviously. I didn't have a lot to do or a lot I could do because I was always, really short of breath. Couldn't go up a flight of stairs by myself, couldn't go shopping for groceries by myself, etc. And on the 15th of May, 31 days later, I woke up that morning, and the first thought, and I won't use the exact words of the first thought because they're not very nice words. I certainly wouldn't want to record them on a YouTube video, but it was like, beep, beep, you're an idiot. you've been teaching and preaching this chiropractic paradigm of health and healing, the fact that the human body has an innate ability to heal, provided that the nervous system is functioning without interference, there's got to be something seriously wrong with your spine and nervous system. But then the next thought was, how could there be? I've been, seen by a chiropractor every week or two for decades. And then the third thought was, oh my gosh, but never by the same chiropractor. I was not a practice member in any chiropractor's office. I thought, when's the last time I had a complete spinal and neurological examination? It was probably like 20 years. Last time I had an x-ray of my spine, probably at least 15 or 20 years as well. And when all the noise died down in my head, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe there is something seriously wrong with my spine and nervous system. And I want you to know that I had no pain in my spine. I didn't have pain in my neck. I didn't have pain in my back. I had pain nowhere. I just could not breathe. And as I mentioned earlier, my heart had expanded to 2.5 times its normal size, and therefore it's obvious that I was ill. I was a sick person. Those were the symptoms, but no pain. I made an appointment and go see a chiropractor as a new patient. I asked for a complete thorough examination, a consultation examination, asked for a set of x-rays, asked for a neural scan. And when we reviewed all that information, we discovered that my spine looked actually pretty good, except from C7, which is that bump as you come down the base of your neck, that bump C7, to T4, which is obviously 4 vertebrae lower. And the nerves that supply the energy, if you like, the electricity to the function of your heart and lungs actually exit your spine from T1 to T4. And so we knew that there was some serious interference at that level. We created a care plan, and I say we because I talked with my chiropractor about it, obviously, having been a chiropractor myself for 25 years. Created a care plan, and I started care. And interesting enough, within about 3 months, my pulmonary pressure had dropped from 57 millimeters mercury of pressure to 27. That's more than a 50% improvement. Yes, I understand the normal's 15. It was still twice as great as it should be, but it was improving. And I knew it was improving because symptomatically I was now able to walk longer distances. I was able to go up a flight of stairs slowly, but I wasn't winded and didn't have to stop half the way up. I could walk, a number of blocks, maybe a mile and a half, where before I couldn't even walk, 100 yards. And over a period of 2 years, not only did my pulmonary pressure return to normal, but my cardiomegaly, that expansion of my heart to 2.5 times the normal size, actually basically disappeared. How does that happen? Well, the body has an innate ability to heal. And we recognize that this exists in the human body provided there's no interference. And so once the interference was removed between my brain, which is the master computer, sending that energy down the spinal cord and then out the spine at every level from the first cervical down to the last lumbar, giving energy to all organic systems in the human body. When the interference in that upper thoracic area was removed, my body went back to this innate ability to heal. My body had adapted to the stress, the strain, if you like, to the interference in that area of the spine by causing my heart to increase in size so it could pump more blood so I could get properly oxygenated. When it got to the point where my heart could no longer grow because there was no more room in my chest, the symptoms returned. When the interference was corrected, the body started to adapt to that no interference, and therefore my heart went back down to its normal size. I'm now living in the Atlanta area. It is now 2018. The recording actually today, September 5th, 2018. I ran a 5K run on Saturday when my wife and I were away on vacation. I ran a 5K race, part of the Kennesaw series, about a month ago. Last year I ran all 5 5K races in the Kennesaw series. And I'll tell you, I'm healthier at almost 64 than I was at the age of 48, 100% because of chiropractic. So my message to you, if you have not seen a chiropractor, or you don't see a chiropractor on a regular basis, the same chiropractor who takes proper notes, does proper reevaluations, takes x-rays when necessary, etc., I urge you, do that. whether you have symptoms or not. So it's obvious that my spine was in trouble and my nervous system was in trouble before I got that symptom in 2000 when I was exerting myself. It's obvious that that trouble continued until the symptoms reappeared again in 2003. Chiropractic is the answer to maintaining a healthy spine and a healthy nervous system. And I encourage all of you to reach out, make an appointment, visit a chiropractor, whether you have symptoms or not. Certainly if you have symptoms, do so. Even if people told you there's nothing that could be done. I was told that nothing could be done for me except a double lung and heart transplant. If I took my shirt off, you would see there is no scar. There was no transplant. There was no medication other than the Ventolin that I succumbed to half hourly, as I said, when I was in practice to allow me to breathe. But today, 15 years later from the major symptoms, or 18 years later from when the symptoms initially began, I am completely well. I hope you enjoy the story. It is a real story. They're the only type of stories I tell. And hopefully taking this 11 minutes to create this video in my office here at Life University is going to help at least one other person on the planet. Signing off, again, my name is Dr. Gilles, signing off from Life University in Marietta, Georgia. Thanks for watching.